still sideways. Happy Thursday, beautiful people. Happy Thursday. Ooh. Last couple pages. All right, beautiful people. Happy Thursday. It is December the 15th, 2022, day 289 of year 4 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1309. Today, we should be starting the Lord's second book, but I think I'm going to push it off a day. I'm going to push it off a day, and we're going to read something in the John Lant plays. Jamia, look, girl, I had to get up from my desk last night after we got off the phone. I probably spent about 10 more minutes finishing up my schoolwork. And then I went upstairs, showered and everything. I said, let me just open it up real quick. But then I found myself sitting there till almost 2 o'clock this morning. I was like, oh my gosh. Listen, I went and got my other Oahspe that hasn't been marked up yet, so I can use this and make the changes in this with the John Lant plates. So the John Lant plates, and some of y'all, I sent it to you. Quite a few people emailed me. Some people that that be hanging out in the background. I'm like, who is you? And some of them say, I be hanging out in the background. Can I get a copy of that? I'm like, yeah, no problem, right? But there is some, the first thing that caught my eye, there was something in the definitions. For those of y'all that got it, did y'all skip through the definitions at the front in the glossary? There were 2 things that really caught my eye when I was a couple things I'm gonna go back to, but 2 things I want to really point out, right? That we don't see in the glossary in the version we have. Like, they completely removed it. I'm like, why would you remove this? Like, this is a win for the women. Why would you remove this? Hold on. And you can see what I'm saying, because I'm still trying to really kind of figure it out. But hold on. But before we get to that, we're gonna get to that first. And I'm gonna be reading from my trusted iPad here. Hold on. Hold up. All right, y'all. So Jamia Shalom says, Auntie Shalom, Shalom, via greetings. Vanette Shalom, that's right, Yahoo. Grand Rising. Ima, set apart, Shalom. Kendra Shalom. Abba Girl Shalom. Global Purpose, Grand Rising. Dawn Shalom, sis. Shebrew, all praises to the Creator. Shalom, Jehovah's children. Key blessings. Yes, I say. All right, y'all. And everybody else here hanging out in the background. Top of the day to you. We appreciate y'all coming in. I get that some people busy. They can't join in the chat and they're getting ready for work and all that stuff. And that's cool. That's quite all right. But we hold on, let me see. After we finish with what we're gonna read here in the John Lant place today, we are gonna hop over. I don't want to spend a whole hour, although I would absolutely love to. We're gonna pause unless our conversation about this just kind of carries on. And we're gonna read a couple pages from the Field Guide to the Spirit World. But if we don't make it there today, I mean, it's okay. I hope that's okay with y'all. But we're gonna get back to it. Yeah, send me an email if y'all if you want a copy of it, and I'll share it with you. Right, I'll share it with you. All right. So Father, we thank you for different levels of understanding. Yeah. So now, with something I saw in one of the definitions, I'm really interested in finding something else. And I'll explain it to y'all when we get there. Okay, so let's pull it up. Y'all got it going here. Open it up. Hold on. I saved it in. I downloaded and saved it in a couple places. When you get it, download it to whatever device you got, wherever it fit now. Email it to yourself, just in case, I don't know. And save it in a folder in your email that you can always go back to. Like Gmail is always there. Send it to a Gmail or something. Save it, put it in a folder just in case. I don't know, something happens with your computer if you don't print it off. But I am going to get this printed off as well. What in the world? Okay, let me start this over. Everything ain't never did this. This ain't flashing on and off. Like, this is virus activity. Hold on. Where? Okay. Hey, sir. Yes, sir. Clearly something went wrong. Something went wrong. Okay. Let's try this again. What? This joker been working fine. This is brand new. What? Hold on. I can't even. Let's turn off. Okay. Collections. Yes. Open. Hold on, y'all. Look. I feel like the religious spirit coming on me. I'm about to start blaming the devil for messing with my electronics. Hold on, let me start. Hold on. Start over. I'm just trying to reset the whole thing. Let me just turn it off. Turn it back on. Oh, you a screenshot. Let's do that. Yes. Power off. Oh my gosh. This ain't gonna do this morning. Listen, you brand new now. Don't start. Okay. And cut it back on. Okay. Let's give it a second. I found something really, really interesting. I'm gonna send them to you, Dawn. She said them plates. Send me a copy of the John Lant plates. I got you, sis. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Where is it? I saved it in my books. If this keep acting up, I guess I'm gonna have to how to do it from here. That's gonna suck. Hold on. Library. There we go. Okay, John Lant plates. It is a huge file. Come on. I'm about to just use this. I'm just about to use this. I'm gonna just have to jump back and forth while it's doing that. But what I think we're gonna do, I'm glad I didn't have them printed out because I think I'm gonna go here to Office Max or somewhere, and I'm gonna see if they can print it on a maybe like size paper as this, so it can blow it up and make the font, because it looked like it's standard 12, but I'm gonna see if they can make it like 14, the font size 14, or at least blow it up a little bit to where it'll look bigger, because some places are really faded and it's really old, and it's really light in some places. But I'm gonna see how much they can darken it up so I can have a copy that I can hold in my hand. Okay, this is doing the most. All right, so we about to do this. Okay, I got you, Key. I'm gonna send it to you. Okay, so let me just open it up here. Let me see if I can just double screen this. Lavon, shalom. Audrey, shalom, shalom. Hold on, let's do this. Move this over here. Close this. Cancel. Gotta rearrange this stuff up here. Okay, get this out the way. All right. Open this. Hold on. Is that it? No, open up. Back over here. Hold on. Okay. Let's bring that out right there. Okay, yeah, that's better. Okay. It's not so bad. I can do it like this. Okay. Trying to get all the way down here to page 76. Okay, go all the way back to the top. Let me just type it in. Okay. All right, I'm just adjusting my screen. Bear with me for a second. Okay. Oh, darn it. Okay, I gotta do something with this so I can read it. Hold on. Let me get this. So I gotta move my phone. Facebook, y'all gonna be at an angle today. Sorry. I hope it don't fall. I didn't think I was gonna have to do all this rearranging. I gotta put some here so it don't slide. Use the remote. Get to. Okay. All right. We good. I got you, Marlene. I see some more people, the emails coming through. Send me them plates. Okay. Oh, we'll see if we can still blow that out. That's okay. I ain't gonna mess with the iPad. We're just gonna have to do it off of here. Okay. So if you want to open it, that's cool. All right. So that way you can kind of look at some things, and if it's something here you want to point it out. This is my first time. Well, I was skimming through it last night, but let me see if I can make this font just a little bit bigger up here. 100. Okay. Okay, I can do that like that. Okay, I blew it up a little bit, but because I got my screens halved over here, I'm gonna have to go over and then come back and go up and down. All right, so bear with me, y'all. So let's do this right here. I'm gonna have to be close. All right, Elijah Grand Rising. You started reading the introduction to it? Yeah, I'm gonna read the introduction to it right now. This also has the handwritten notes from John Newborough as well. So anybody, I'm sure maybe the older people, if y'all ever had a typewriter or used a typewriter, I remember using a typewriter in my early married life, right? Didn't have a computer yet. Well, no, I digress. No, I had a computer, but I was learning about the private citizen stuff, right? To where you can I talked about this a while ago. I got in trouble. They came knocking on my door, confiscating my materials. I thought, oh shoot, I didn't tap into something. They're gonna kick me. And my husband like, look, Pam, you need to stop. I was like, but I be figuring stuff out, and then I just got to tap into it. Okay, so I had a typewriter back then, early married years, early 20s. And if you and I brought that up because when you type on it, especially when you learning how to get better, you can tell, like, sometimes if you're typing something out and you got to go back and make a correction, or you got to pull it out and put it back in, and you don't align it just right, the sentence seems to go like up a little bit and down. Like, you can see that the whole sentence, you can tell where they did some adjustments, right? And he didn't have correction tape, right? So he would X through a couple things and adjust the paper, then type over it, or he would handwrite it in. And there was some notes. Yes, yeah, thank you, Jamia. Yeah, information on becoming a sovereign citizen, right? Listen, we sent in some of that paperwork. I learned how to do some of this stuff. They called it. He had to mask his channel and what his titles were, but I found them. By going through, so it's crazy how I come across stuff. But I found this channel. He was teaching it openly, but coded in words, and called his channel a gardening channel. And so with certain words, he would change it and he would use certain gardening terms. But those who had been there and understood the code words understood what he was teaching. So if anybody else had come in by mistake, oh, what is this? Oh, gardening channel or whatever. But you never saw any garden tools or anything, right? So a real gardener, if they had come across, we're like, what are they talking about? Garden? I don't see, they ain't doing no kind of tutorials with plants. I don't see nothing in the background. He always had this big chalkboard behind him or a whiteboard, and he was just giving you the lowdown on everything inside the government, the paperwork. He walked through to how to fill out tax forms appropriately. We ain't gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. They confiscated my stuff. I almost could have went to jail because they didn't want me to have it. I'm just like, yeah, we'll leave that alone for right now. But there's a way, like, I got into the private banking portion of it. I'm like, well, shoot, well, why they? It's everything is flipped around backwards there. And if you understand a little bit about the banks, when you start learning about that and get into it, it's like, wait a minute. And it was teaching me literally how to become not just, yeah, my own banker. Literally, you can be your own banker. Literally, they use your social security number. Your social security number is actually an account number that's connected to a bank somewhere in the International Monetary Fund, divided up over the states. And depending on what the numbers are in your social security number, no, I'm sorry, on your social security card, there is a red number that's printed on the back. Most people unaware think it's a serial number or something. Maybe such and such, this number, when they print them out, there's this many. I just happen to be this number. No, because if you're around enough people and all of you have your social security cards present, you're going to notice some of you have the same number. Well, that number is a routing number to a particular bank, right? And your social security number is the account number. They just remove some zeros from it and some other things. Yep. Same with your birth certificate, right? All of these things are being traded on the stock market. People that ain't got no money, living in a box under a bridge, have an account with millions of dollars attached to their name that they don't know about, that the government uses. I done probably said too much already. We're gonna leave it alone. I got in trouble for it. Like I said, they came and confiscated all my stuff. And I played, boy. You talking about somebody playing dumb. I played dumb. I gave up everything. I was like, yeah, I just heard somebody that was talking about it. Was kind of interesting. And so I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, oh my God, Father, I'm not a good liar. I was like, you gotta help me play dumb. I don't want to go to jail. Apparently they don't want me to have this stuff, but it worked. And when I went in and did, they'll say it's fraud if you're missing something. But I found out that it's absolutely not fraud because I did it right. And they never came after us for money for one particular person. But what happens is they change the processes a little bit, and we we caught on to it like it was a group of my family members. We was sitting around a round table. Everybody had ordered fresh birth certificates, social security cards, the forms, like all of this stuff. And we were sitting here, we was going through these things. I was like, everybody, listen, okay. I had the steps out, and everybody was filling out their own papers, and everybody got the checks back, right? But we first tested it with my brother. They never came after us for the money that they had given to my brother. And that's what really drove me into learning about the IRS. Now, I did it for a decade regular side, but I was doing a lot of study on the flip side, underground, with some of the things that some of the very wealthy know, right? Not all of them, some of them, because some of them are so wealthy. It's like, we don't even need that side of the system. We're just gonna spend it. We're gonna spend a fiat currency, right? But you literally, if you ever heard of like a black card with no limit, that's essentially what it is, right? And if you understand the rules of the game, they let you play, right? But they go come check and see if you really know and understand what you're talking about. And that's why they freaked me out, because I was missing some things. The first time we did it, I did it perfectly before their little system change. Once they confiscated my materials and freaked me out so bad, I just didn't go back to it. I'm like, getting too close and I'm missing something. But they never came after us, and it's been over 20 years now. And my brother's been done other things where IRS is required to be a part of and all that stuff. Never a thing, because it was done perfectly. And we used a typewriter. The whole point of saying that, we use a typewriter for that. That was the first time I had ever had to use a typewriter, because going in typing up those forms, I didn't have the computer and the software to be able to do it, and neither did I know how to do it at that time, where I could get the forms, populate them online. It was some things that was still developing. So we actually had to hand type some of these things into the IRS forms. Like, and some of them you may be familiar with, like if you're a subcontractor or something, or you do self-employment work, if you do some work for somebody that issue a 1099. Well, there's more than just one 1099. There's like the 1099 OID, the 1099A. All these things were part of when you went in to fill out this paperwork and send to the government, right? And when you send certain forms in with certain things, they, not that they knew who you were, but they sent it to people who were trained for this, right? There's a whole nother different side of the IRS that takes care of documents and handles the money. They are a true accounting firm that takes care of the money of those who are privy to the game, who understand the game. They ain't got to worry in the world, not nary one, when it comes to supplying anything material. They will give it to you, right? But I'm gonna leave it alone for now. We're just gonna work the business on this side of commerce, right? Okay. My husband. My husband is there. I was talking about, we was looking into the sovereign citizen stuff. Yeah. Okay, babe. All right. Okay, so let's get to these John Lant plays, right? Everybody else is hanging out in the background. Listen, okay. So if you got it, go ahead and open it up. The ones who just, your emails are coming through. I'm gonna have to send it to you after we done. So just kind of hang out, listen. All right. So the preface to this, like I said, this has John Newborough's handwritten notes, some of his corrections and stuff. But I want to read the introduction to this because it says something about the way this was written. And it was written in a way to where different publishers or different editors, they come through and they think that there's maybe a miscommunication and they're trying to straighten it out. But there was no miscommunication, said for the I say the diligent student who actually takes the time and reads through this slowly. You will realize that there is no contradiction with anything in here that's being said, right? And a lot of this stuff can be tested. So let me read this, and then I'm gonna hop over into the glossary and pull out a couple of these terms, right? It's really, really interesting. Nazarene is saying shalom, shalom. Okay, y'all. Yeah. Hold on, I just saw your comment. Your social security number is linked to the Vatican. It's worth a lot of money. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. All right, y'all. Okay. The preface to second edition. Okay, and at the top it has El Paso, Texas, September 14th, 1929. By kindness of something, by kindness of something. And it just has like an address with El Paso, Texas. Yes. Well, why couldn't you take this off and do all this? Hold on. I'm just folding it and putting it in. Oh, I thought you wanted me to slide it through so you can pull it out the side and hook it up. Oh, okay. All right, son. Okay, so let's go back here. All right. Two kinds of literature have been before the world for several thousand years. Wait a minute. Hold on real quick. Let me do this. Oh, I forgot about that. I got to this point where we was talking about the little yellow and white men. Now I went and Googled something and I found something. It's a medical peer-reviewed, I was like, holy crap. A medical peer-reviewed, but they made it seem like the woman was crazy and hallucinating. And it's peer-reviewed. It's in a medical journal. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all. Okay. I'm gonna put the link in here. I know I haven't emailed it, but just in case you want to like open it up now. I got it right here. That I'll do. Okay. They spelled my last name wrong. They put an E in Murphy. Okay. Boom. There y'all go. Click the link if you want to open it so you can kind of like read along. I'm not sure if you're able like to put YouTube in the background while you open it up. All right, but just in case, there you go. And if you get it, you can download it. It's a huge file. Download it because in about 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks now, that link will be non-active, right? Okay. Two kinds of literature have been before the world for several thousand years. They are called sacred and profane. Their chief characteristic differences are that the former is as if it came from another to this world, and the latter as if it were the work of man looking outward, searching. These sacred books, so called, do not come often, but they live very long. The profane books come all the time, but for the most part, die out very soon after coming. Sacred books of any great account come only once every 2,000 or 3,000 years, and they come at a time when they are wanted. They drop down upon us with fearlessness. Our former doctrines and philosophies are ignored by them. They seem to consult nothing especially, neither man nor book, but make an orbit of their own. Let me adjust this up just a little bit. Hold on. I can't move that up anymore. Let's see. Okay, we could do that. That's better. Okay. Sacred books of any great account come only once every 2,000 or 3,000 years, and they come at a time when they are wanted. They drop down upon us with fearlessness. Our former doctrines and philosophies are ignored by them. They seem to consult nothing especially, neither men nor books, but make an orbit of their own. Their favorite themes are history and the affairs of gods and angels. Our dates and chronology are ignored. One might say these Bibles for 2,000 or 3,000 years, with its countless thousands authors writing books. Hold on. Did I skip a line? Hold on. Let me blow it up just a little bit more. Okay. One might say of these Bibles for 2,000 or 3,000 years, with its countless thousands of authors writing books, but all is confusion. No one knows what to think or what has been proved or prived, or what has been prived or what has been or what is to be believed. Then comes the sacred books, like a judge, and settles the matter or purports to. Certain philosophers have searched for the origin of man by processes called evolution. They have gone deeply into the cell theories and atoms, divisible and indivisible. They have chased man back into protoplasm, and there left him without proving, after all, that there was no creator. Certain others have endeavored to prove that one animal is produced out of another species, that men began away that men began away down in the ends. Wait, maybe okay. I'm gonna just read it like it is. That men began away down in the insect plane or even lower, but they have invariably left out the facts necessary for their philosophies. Oahspe sets all the above theories aside so as much so as I'm sorry. Oahspe sets all the above theories aside as so much wasted paper. Yeah, Dropbox definitely comes in handy for this, right? It's online and it'll save it for you, especially if you don't have the space on your computer because the file is so huge. You may be able to use some type of app or something to reduce the size of the file. Okay, it'll just save it in another way. Okay.
All I know is that the creator did one-on-one us, like one-on-one creators. If that was the case,
You say he didn't one-on-one us?
He didn't one-on-one create us. Because one, if this man did one-on-one create us, half the problems that would be going on this earth would not be.
Oh no, we see how mankind goes awry. He is the all life, talking about creator. He is the all, hold on, I skipped something. I'm sorry, y'all. As an atom of water may exist within the ocean, so do all the living exist within the creator. So also it is with life itself. It is the all life, whilst each and all the living are but parts of him. And the same may be said of knowledge or wisdom. He is the all of things, but they are the parts thereof. In reference to physical cosmos or the philosophies of astronomical bodies, Oahspe stands on entirely new ground, and it gives a new system for the powers and forces holding these bodies in their places, wholly at variance with what is still taught in our schools and colleges. Of these points, since the issue of the first edition, there have been many wise men turned in this direction who freely assert that Oahspe is undoubtedly the beginning of a new system of universal philosophy for both the corporal and spiritual worlds. After the first edition was issued, it was sent to many of most prominent newspapers and periodicals, both in America and England, and elicited an almost universal praise as being a book long looked for to throw light upon the heretofore unsolved problems of the age, even of life's cause and ultimatum. How produced? And it has parentheses, but it doesn't give any like it's quoting something. But anyway, it says how produced, and how produced is in all capital letters. Like, how was this produced? It says how produced. Perhaps the reader has heard of the uneducated Negro boy of 6 years of age who could solve any arithmetic problem intuitively and in a moment's reflection. Perhaps the reader has heard of the musical little girl, 4 years old, that can improvise long pieces of music equal to the greatest masters. Or perhaps he may have heard of the wonderful Flimsic? Or he may have heard of the wonderful Flemish, I'm sorry, that's an H, the Flemish boy who was blind but painted the most wonderful and beautiful landscape and portrait likenesses of relatives whom he never saw. Well, at any rate, such things are generally deposed as phenomenal. The wise are confounded, but there the matter generally drops so far as grappling with the cause is concerned. In like manner, it may be said of Oahspe, it is not the work of inspiration or intellectual culture or research, but it may be said to be the mechanical production of a man's hand. A man who wrote it without thinking about it at all, and who can think about something else all the time the writing is going on. The same hand can work independent of his volition to paint pictures. It was in this manner that the pictures in Oahspe were made. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let me read this last sentence again. In like manner, it may be said of Oahspe, it is not the work of inspiration or of intellectual culture or researching, but it may be said to be the mechanical production of a man's hand, a man who wrote it without thinking about it at all, and who can think about something else all the time the writing is going on. The same hand can work independently of his volition to paint pictures. It was in this manner that the pictures in Oahspe were made. The portraits are taken from full-size oil paintings, but fail measurably in illustrating the beauty of the originals. And it kind of gives a little bit of insight to some of them pictures. It was like, oh, I don't know about this. He looked a little too bright. But the way the pictures look in the book contradict the words that we read in the book. But it clearly says here that even the hand drawn, it doesn't it doesn't even come close to the actual painting of what it originally was, because it even tells you in here that some of the drawings were taken from some older drawings and oil paintings and stuff like that, right? Okay. The object of a low price. When Oahspe was first issued, the publishers made no provision for a cheap edition. The original, being $7.50 retail, placed it beyond the reach of thousands who could not spare so much money. This edition is now placed at a price within the reach of nearly everyone. It is to be hoped, however, that at no very distant day, the price may be so reduced that it can be sold cheap as any other Bible and as extensively. Quite certain it is that a large part of the people in America, England, France, and Germany are prepared for something higher and pure than the old ones. It does says a lot, right? Look, right. Negroes couldn't afford it. We were running and being sold, right? Shebrew? Look, they still use the same tactic today with anything. We talked about this many times. If it's something, especially when we come across some information and they put it in a book and they know we looking for it, they be like, oh no, raise the price on them ninjas. Make the book 1,000, 2,000. One of the books we found in Russian, $8,000. Matter of fact, my husband, he said, you better not purchase that book. I'm like, I'm not. That was and somebody got it. Either they took it down or somebody got it. But I put it in my favorites and I was eyeballing it, and it wasn't Amazon. No, it was Amazon, but I found it on another site as well. Like it wasn't Barnes and Nobles, but I want to say it was like Abe Books. But it was I couldn't find it anywhere. That next day when I went back looking for it, that $8,000 book, I was gonna try and negotiate with them, right? But it was gone. It was gone. Yeah. All right, hold on. Elijah said, or they have a heart attack. Or they have a heart attack that we have the information and is expounding on it. And that could very well be the case too, Elijah, right? We got a little piece of the puzzle to add to this jank, right? which I think is why it baffles me, some of the stuff that just falls in my lap. I got a lot of stuff that I ain't shared with y'all, but it's like, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? Right? And I be thinking about some of the dreams that I had. I'm like, could this be it? Could this be what this dream meant? Am I supposed to? I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking too much of myself. I was like, because nobody care about me, you know? So I'm like, but I got this stuff. I don't know I'm supposed to do it. And I be reading, talking to family members about it. I'm just like, some stuff might get me I ain't gonna say that, but some stuff I can't say or even share up here. It's just, whew. All right, let me keep going. Look, hold on. Jamia, thank you, sis. We was talking about something. She said, remember, you found it, right? It must be for us. Must be for us to we'll use what Elijah said to expound on it, right? Because we just gonna keep going. We're just gonna leave that at that. Okay. Prophecies in Oahspe fulfilled already. Oh, wait, yeah. Okay. Prophecies in Oahspe fulfilled already. 10 years ago, when it was here written that men should turn away from flesh diet and become herbivores, it seemed an impossibility. But yet within these 10 years, there have sprung up all over the United States, England, France, and Germany countless thousands of vegetarians and vegetarian societies. 10 years ago, when it was written that many of the priests and clergy should give up their calling and preach no more, it seemed incredible. But it has come to pass, especially in America and England. Preachers and priests alike have come out ignoring Christianity in every possible way. 10 years ago, when it was written, listen to this. 10 years ago, when it was written, there had been a race of small people who preceded the present large people, and that proofs of such matter be, hold on, let me read it over. 10 years ago, when it was written, there had been a race of small people who preceded the present large people, and that proofs of such matters should be made known. It seemed, with our knowledge of the races of man, to be incredible. But lately, the small people have been found. True, they have degenerated into savages and are no longer the sacred little people of ancient history. Still, they are little people. Two kinds of these small people are said to have lived in those days. One was white and the other was yellow. The yellow is discovered. Excuse me, when I read that, this is where I came across, hold on. I came across this. I put a little, and I put the link. I'm gonna share this link with y'all. And this is a peer review. That may mean nothing to you, but now that I'm in the master's program, I'm hearing this a lot. And my last assignment, let me copy the whole thing. I'm sorry. My last assignment of the last term that I had to turn in, I had to get 2 peer-reviewed references to put them in my bibliography. Right? So this is something that the people that they deem to be scholars and very well learned, that they also acknowledge, yes, this is a thing. Yes, we approve it. We sanction it. Yes, peer review. Yes, take it. It's good, right? This is a peer review article. There you go. Listen, let me open it up. I'm like, yo, this, and it gives you a little bit, but in here, these medical doctors make this woman seem like she hallucinating. And I'm like, this woman is not hallucinating. Look, Bronze, that peer review stuff get on my nerves. My sister, a nurse, she won't believe nothing until peer reviewed. Listen, I'm grateful that my sister started off in the shenanigans with me before she got her medical license and stuff. She like the charge, one of the charge nurses at her hospital, right? She she good now. You know, I ain't bragging on her, but I am. My sister, that's just how she was born. She's always been that way. But I'm glad she was with the shenanigans before she got full blown into the medical field. So now she's not just looking at the peer-reviewed stuff and looking at it from the medical side of things. But because of our shenanigans and spirituality before she got there, she's looking at it at a whole different light. So when she goes in there, she can literally command the hospital and keep it and keep it in line spiritually while she's there. It's amazing. Okay, look, so let me open this back up. There we go. So click on this article and you find it in the National Library of Medicine, National Center for Biotechnology Information, right? So let's scroll down a little bit. And the title is Of Little Yellow Men and the Fear of the Light. So it goes through all of this, and this is an abstract, right? It says, under the abstract, okay. We report the case of a 65-year-old woman presenting with recurrent vomiting for 3 days. She had been previously diagnosed with an atrial septal defect and was on treatment with diuretics and digoxin. I'm gonna screw some of these medical terms up. Don't hold it over my head. Y'all know I be screwing words up. She had been previously diagnosed with the atrial septal defect and was on treatment with diuretics and digoxin for paroxysmal supraventricular tachycardia. The clinical examination was consistent with an atrial septal defect with severe pulmonary hypertension. Electrocardiography showed complete heart block with ST segment changes suggestive of digitalis toxicity. Transthoracic echocardiography confirmed isium menorinism. I'm sorry, medical field. That was so not professional. Serum digoxin levels were elevated. Following hospitalization, she was diagnosed with photophobia when she persistently asked for ambient lighting to be switched off. Listen, most interestingly, the patient kept reporting seeing little yellow men, which is how she perceived the attending doctors. Cessation of digoxin therapy led to progressive abatement of her symptoms, right? So if you get down here, that was just the abstract. So it goes into the background and it mentions this again, but they say, oh, she was hallucinating, right? But I thought this was really interesting. And when you get a chance, just finish reading, go through everything, right? And going through some of the stuff that we learned in Susan B. Martinez about different things that happen to people when they're under the influence of drugs, just different things like that. When it kind of open, I ain't gonna say kind of, a lot of times it open people up to the spiritual realm. The medical field, they just gonna call it hallucination, but they're really seeing what's there. Like the veil has been opened for them for a period of time, right? Now that can be done holistically and in a natural way through the course of your life in meditation, which is how it was designed to be done, while the angels or our disembodied helps us progress and learn, right? But some people who is just kind of thrown into that realm, they trip out, they try and explain stuff they seeing, and the medical side of things, they hallucinating. Take the drugs down a few notches, whatever, right? Okay. So take that. Hold on, let me go back. Down here in the section of case presentation, right? Let me just read it. A 65-year-old woman presented with recurrent vomiting for 3 days, not associated with abdominal pain or hematemesis, which had persisted despite symptomatic treatment with antiemetics. There was no history of headache or fever. She had been diagnosed previously with a cardiac disorder and had been receiving multiple drugs for the past 6 months. She claimed to be compliant on therapy despite the episodes of vomiting. At the time of receiving a cardiac diagnosis, she had suffered from several bouts of palpitation. At the time of presentation to our hospital, however, cardiac symptoms were limited to severe fatigue. She denied the history of substance abuse. Family history was not contributory. At admission, the patient was hemodynamically stable, Bradycardia was noted. General physical examination revealed central cyanosis, which did not improve with oxygen supplementation and grade 2 clubbing. Jugular venous pressure was normal with occasional canon A waves. Peripheral edema was absent. There was no stigma of infective endocarditis. Cardiovascular examination showed a palpable P2 with a prominent left parasternal heave with an outwardly displaced apical impulse. Let me just hop down here to this part I was trying to get to. Read the whole article, y'all. Listen, after admission to the cardiac care unit, the patient repeatedly asked for ambient lighting to be switched off. When questioned, she explained that the light hurt her eyes. Further questioning then revealed the presence of photophobia for 1 month prior to admission, which was severe enough to confine her to her home for the last month, to the extent that she demanded sunglasses when persistent vomiting necessitated a visit to our hospital. Another less troubling and initially unreported visual symptom was later discovered when she began referring to little yellow men. Subsequently, it was determined that this was how she perceived the attending doctors, and thus probably a form of visual hallucination, right? They said, okay, yeah, we don't really get it. We're going to come to this conclusion. How many doctors was coming in out of the room? How many little yellow men you say you saw, ma'am? Okay, Dr. Johnson, yeah, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah, she's probably just assuming that the doctors were right, and that's what they did, from the looks of this. Okay, so let's go back. Hold on. Oh, you talk about your sister, Bronze. Yeah, she still got some growing to do. Hopefully she'll be able to merge the two, the spiritual with her natural job, which is how it was designed to be in the first place, right? This is like hands-on, like us going to our jobs or businesses and school. This is the physical part, or this is literally just the lab part of our learning, which the spiritual it pretty much should supersede it, but it should be in tandem with it. And everybody, at least that's how they taught most people, they cut off the spiritual aspect of learning. And now we just got a bunch of people that's full of head knowledge and spiritually dense. Let's go back. Okay. 10 years ago, hold on, let me go back. Let me read this again. 10 years ago, when it was written, there had been a race of small people who preceded the present large people, and that proofs of such matters should be made known. It seemed with our knowledge of the races of man to be incredible, but lately the small people have been found. True, they have degenerated into savages and are no longer the sacred little people of ancient history. Still, they are little people. 2 kinds of these small people are said to have lived in those days. One was white and the other was yellow. The yellow is discovered. 2 prophecies yet remain of great importance to many people. They are first, that the sunken continent in the Pacific Ocean shall be discovered, and which shall prove the origin of the flood. And second, that the present powerful religious sects, SECTS, namely Brahmanism, Buddhism, Christianity, and Mohammedanism, shall go out of existence at a very early date. Another prophecy, which I can see why they would try and want to keep some of these things hidden, because these are big money makers. They're cash cows. Religion is cash cows. There is we can call them a whole nation of people from at the 4 corners of the earth that make they living, they livelihood on the religious industry. We'll call it the religious industry. Another prophecy is that with the going out of existence of said old systems, a new one shall come and listen to this. I'm like, hey, that's us. Listen. Another prophecy is that with the going out of existence of the said old systems, a new one shall come in and is in fact already founded. These new people are to be Jehovians, worshiping the Creator only, and they shall be known by the name Faithists. They shall be anti-warriors, non-flesh eaters, and shall practice religion instead of preaching it, working for others and not for themselves. Through them is to be founded a new government, wholly unlike anything yet in existence as a government. Through them is the old competitive system of living to be suspended. Armies and soldiers are to be dispensed with, nor shall there be any more poor people on earth who have not food and clothing sufficient. Tariffs and national legislation shall be abolished, so that any and all people shall be privileged to come and go wherever they may choose. A little apology may not be out of place, which is that the copy of Oahspe now before the reader is the same as the original manuscripts. This was not the case in all particulars in the first edition. So he letting you know here that the ones that came out were not the first edition. This here with all the notes of John Newborough hand, and if you open it up and see, you scroll through, you will see his arrows and typing, his corrections, the Xing out, his writing on over things that didn't quite, maybe he was running out of ink on his typewriter ribbon or something. He darkened it in with his pen. You'll see all this stuff written through here, right? Listen, I'm just like getting chills reading through some of this stuff. And oh my gosh, we already an hour. We have 56 minutes. We ain't got to what I wanted to get to. Hold on. We're going to spend just a little bit more time because we ain't going to be here tomorrow. And I'm going to be like chomping at the bit trying to get back here to read some more of this to y'all. Okay, let me keep going. Listen. A little apology may not be out of place, which is that the copy of Oahspe now before the reader is the same as the original manuscripts. This was not the case in all particulars in the first edition. In the first edition, much of it, here's what I was talking about earlier. In the first edition, the one that was printed out and said it was the first edition, which was not the first edition, and actually talking with Jamil on the phone last night, was talking a little bit about this. And even that first edition that they said was the first edition, there was another edition that had been retracted, and then they made other adjustments and then put that out as the first edition. So that's like the first edition that we see is like the third edition, right? It was so much stuff that was done to it. Tabitha said, remember Cosmo and Cal was reading from the book of Ezra, the fall of all the religious groups. Right. I remember that. Okay. Let me go back up here. In the first edition, this was not the case in all particulars in the first edition. In the first edition, much of it was left to the proofreaders, and they omitted some things here and there and made additions in a few instances so that a few points in the book seemed contradictory. And here's the sentence right here that I'm about to read. A careful examination of the original manuscript, which is what we have here, the John Lant plates. A careful examination of the original manuscript by a patient and careful reader has proved the original to be uniform and without contradictory assertions from beginning to end. This is saying a good deal for a work so comprehensive as Oahspe. Oahspe thus marks the beginning of the new era of the, Oahspe thus marks the beginning of the new or Cosmine era and Cosmine church without any creeds or worshipful gods, lords, saviors, priests, or preachers, but in which all people shall worship the great I am Jehovah. Okay, so that was the preface, and let's go down. I gotta go back. Okay, so this right here, right? Let me move this over real quick. A little bit of this is on when you get to the, like Yeah, okay. So this first page right there is this very first page was giving you like the beginning credits, right? That's what this next page is. But up at the top, it has let me decrease that a little bit. I'm sorry, make that a little bit smaller. Okay. So at the top, there's it looks like it was pulled out of Sathanti's chapter maybe 11. I think that's a X1, XIXL, maybe the wrong chapter. I can't see it clearly. But Sathanti's chapter, whatever that is, verse 3. And it says North America, right? This was the land called by the angels North Gautama, signifying the meeting of nations and the dawn of Cosmon. Then it has triangle. There was a graven image at every corner, the which, when read, was IOD, and it was in the character of Waga, Pan, bestowed by the lords on altars in the house of worship on earth, and its value was 33 millions, which was the exact number prepared for and this is one of them corrections he did, which was the exact number prepared for the Anu in the emancipated heaven in Ethera. And the 33 was the years of a generation of mortals. God said, and then under that it has words of Jehovah and his angel ambassadors. God said, Jehovah is one, the living is one, inanimate corpore is one, and these three are the entirety. When mortals are raised up to understand this symbol of three in one, then will a sacred history, cosmon, begin to dawn on the earth. Haja said, O God, thou symbol of the three attributes, love, wisdom, and power, of the dominations of of the dominions of the higher and lower heavens on the earth. And so it goes through that the rolling credits, right? The first page. Let me just scroll up a little bit. And down at the bottom of the page, down in the left-hand corner, it has the triangle is a symbol of sky, earth, and spirit, the three entities which constitute the universe being emblematical of Jehovah, right? And so it has the copyrights and everything. And then it has John Balu, and he actually, I'm not sure that he mistyped his own last name, but it looked like it. You know how you erase something, but the page is dirty now. You try to erase it a little bit more and it lighten it up. Now you got this little blurb. That looks like what happened. So he wrote his last name in cursive, Newborough, right? Okay. The editor's preface. When a man, hold on, let me see something. Because that's pretty short. Oh, then it gets into the definitions, right? So we're gonna kind of skim through them real quick, but I'm gonna go to these two definitions before we get out of here. The real Trinity, the triangle, and the meanings of it. True, right, Elijah? Okay, so let's go back. All right, the editor's preface. When a man holds up a book and says, you must believe this because it says, thus saith the Lord, should we not pity that man? Does he comprehend the liberty of men to acquire knowledge? Any book that imparts knowledge of the life and destiny of man is a good book. Any book that unfolds the character and person of Jehovah and the wonder and glory of his creations is a good book. When a book gives us information of things we know not of, it should also give us a method of proving that information to be true. This book covers that ground. The day has arrived when men will not accept proclamation and assertions. He wants plausible reasons or substantial proofs that the authority be not merely a pretense, but a demonstrable fact, something that can be demonstrated. The time of man worship is at an end. Readers no longer accept a book as a good and great. Readers no longer accept a book as good and great merely because any certain one wrote it. The book must have merits of its own, Otherwise, it will soon pass out of existence. When a man says, I heard the voice of Jehovah saying that part of his, that's, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read it right. When a man says, I heard the voice of Jehovah saying that part of his speech is worthless. When he says, I heard the voice of Jehovah saying, do ye unto others as ye would that they do unto you, then the words become valuable. Okay, let me read it again. When a man says, I heard the voice of Jehovah saying that, oh, okay. I get it. Okay. When a man says, I heard the voice of Jehovah saying, that part of his speech is worthless. So anybody that says, I heard the voice of Creator, like you trying to prop up what you about to say. He said, when they say that, that's worthless. Don't listen to that, if I understand that correctly. When a man says, I heard the voice of Jehovah saying, that part of his speech is worthless. When he says, I heard the voice of Jehovah, the words become valuable. His assertions of his authority is of no avail in this age of the world. The words purporting to be Jehovah's should be therefore be the only consideration as to merit, and all men have a right to pass judgment thereon. Is it not the light of Jehovah within all men that makes them conscious of wisdom and truth? If so, then man's expression of any truth or wisdom is Jehovah's expression. If a book were to fall down from the sky with Jehovah's signature to it, man would not accept the book on that account. Why then should anything be said about how this book was written? It blows nobody's horns. It makes no leader. It is not a destroyer of old systems or religions. It reveals a new one adapted to this age, wherein all men can be as brethren. New York, 1882. Right? Yep. Elijah, the pyramids were supposed to be temples of light to the Creator, representing the triangle and the meaning of it as it reads in the preface of this version of Oahspe. That's interesting. Okay, so here's where the definitions start, right? So at the top it says strange words used in this. I'm sorry, I totally couldn't see the top part. Okay, it says glossary of strange words used in this book. And like I said, some of these things are lighter than other places because it's so old, right? Okay. So it goes through Aji, Agony, Algonquin. Some of these definitions seem the same. They go hand in hand with what we see here, right? Algonquin, the United States of North American Indians before their destruction by the Christians, right? Okay, so you got angel, a spirit man, Sioux, also Sugan or Ganop. The word spirit does not define whether man or animal, but is often erroneously used instead of angel. And you got Anubi, god of the scales, sometimes called god of justice. See plate of Anubi with ceremonies, right? And then it goes on through the A's. We'll look at Asu or Adam. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me read Archangel. Archangel. Angels next in rank to gods who dwell in certain arcs in Ethera. They generally come in the dawn of a cycle to give new inspiration to mortals, whilst they remain with mortals. And as during the last few years, good mortals become more angelic toward one another. Now, reading through this, I remember when I reached out to the printers of the lowest edition that we're currently reading through, I told them this was when I sent in for my copy of Radiance, right? And I said to them, because they do it on the honor system, and I didn't know. I just wanted to make sure they knew I was being honest. Yes, and I did have a copy of Oahspe, right? But ain't nobody gonna be like, hey, send me another book. Yeah, I didn't read Oahspe if they really haven't done it, So I think they understood that. But I told them that it was a group of us coming together and we was reading it live every morning and everything, right? And I told them that we was about done. And this was like in the next to the last book, I believe it was. And I told them that we're even going to read through the glossary. That was my original thought that we was going to do. Now that I changed it and I got this I wish, because remember I told them, I said, she's the, well, I'm not sure if it was a male or female, I don't remember, but they responded. They said, that is awesome. And they said, you gonna read through the glossary and index too? I'm like, well, yeah, you know. They said, that seems a little, and they did the emoji like yarning. Don't you think you're gonna lose some people? And I thought about it. I'm like, well, yeah, you might be right. So maybe I should just take a poll or something and ask them. Remember, I came back, I told y'all that. And then I was like, y'all want to read the glossary on your own and the index on your own, or you want me to read it? And everybody's like, we'll read it on our own, just start over, right? Because we'll start over. But now that I'm going through this, I really, even if we didn't read the index, I wish I would have took the time to read out loud the definitions, right? That come at the end of the book, the glossary. But here in the John Lant plates, like I was discussing with Jamil last night on the phone, it makes sense that they will put the glossary in the front. And a lot of times we see stuff today, they put it in the back so people can like get right to the stuff. And while you're reading it, they give you the definitions or reference, check this out in the glossary. That's how it's done today. But here, with it being in the beginning, if you don't, when I opened this up and I saw it there, I'm like, oh, the glossary is in the front, you know, and I scrolled a little bit, and as I started scrolling past it, something caught my eye. I was like, wait a minute, let me go back. Let me read through this like it's the very beginning. Like I should read this first before I actually start getting into the chapters, right? And I'm so glad I did, right? Because this is what kept me up. This is what kept me up to almost 2 last night when I said I was gonna go get in the bed. I came across a couple definitions. Hold on. That's why they're in the hold on, Zachariahu. That's why they are in a civilizations. Cosmon did a class on this in healing power. That's good. Oh, wait, there's something else in here about healing power. We're gonna get to it. Tabitha Nall, Volume 1 and 2, Oahspe, the term God is Ziodi. In the Pan language. I use the term Ziodi for true angels and God for false gods. Oahspe is, I gotta move this over. I can't cut this off. The Oahspe is the yellow cover. Okay. Mom, shalom. Yeah, you gonna see. You gonna start it over, sis. She said, shalom, shalom, family. I done missed everything this morning. Straight face. Okay. All right. So listen. Archangel. Angels next in rank to gods who dwell in certain arcs and ethera. They generally come in the dawn of a cycle to give new inspiration to mortals, whilst they remain with mortals. I gotta adjust this page too. Okay. Whilst they remain with mortals, as during the last few years, good mortals become more angelic toward one another. Okay, Asu or Adam, the first race of man to crawl on the belly. See plate 57. Also see Asu, Book of Jehovah. Asaphs, angels in heaven whose office it is to receive the spirit when a mortal dies and bear it to the place prepared for it. They are in organic associations. Their rank is next below Ashars. Ashars, guardian angels who are appointed over mortals to be with them during their life. They deliver the spirit in time of death into the hands of Asaphs. They also keep the record of the mortal, which is also given to the Asaphs in heaven, along with the newborn spirit, which is called an Esian, for a certain season. Ashars are next in rank to the Lewis. See word Lewis. Okay. So if we go down, let me see. Let's jump to Lewis real quick and come right back up. Lewis, angels who provide the prenatal condition for such mortal births as are designed for a special work by the gods or lords, synonymous with masters of generations, next in rank to lords. Their smallest organization is 100,000 members, next rank above Ashars. See pages 690 to 691 as examples. Okay. Let's go back up. Hold on. Let's go back up. Okay. Okay, I'm back there. Okay, now I'm gonna scroll down again. I just want to make sure y'all read through this. Listen, beast, the animal man, the earthly part of man, anything that is enforced as a religion. Okay, that was good. Bride and bridegroom, the emancipated degree of angels in heaven, title bequeathed to all such as have gone beyond the bound heavens, atmospheres, and who are free from the gods and saviors. As we say of a man at 21 years, he is free from his father. He is strong enough to go alone. Okay. And it gives like Buddha, Capilia. Let me read it. It says Buddha, wisdom, knowledge. But afterwards, under the false god Kabbalites, the word Buddha became synonymous with warrior. Capilia, a deliverer, a man of India, contemporaneous with Moses. And like Moses, he delivered the faithists out of bondage, not by migration, but by establishing their freedom throughout India. He also wrought miracles, sometimes spelled Capilia, sometimes spelled Capella, Capell. Capella. A star was named after him. Okay, there was something. Was it Chine? Okay, Chine. A deliverer, a man of China, contemporaneous with Moses and Capilia. He was to China a great deliverer. He was an IESU by birth and wrought miracles. The country China was named after himself. After his death and his body was reduced to ashes, Jehovah caused a wind to gather up the ashes and restore Chine to life 7 days, during which time he preached before the kings and people. Then Jehovah sent down a ship of light and bore Chine up to heaven. See Doctrines of Chine, this work. Okay. So it says Christ or Christ, and it's spelled first with the C and then it's spelled with the K. Wisdom, knowledge, education. After the false god Luomung falsely took this name and it became synonymous with warrior. Christian or Christians, a brotherhood of warriors. They were named Christians in derision. Christians or Christians, a brotherhood of warriors. They were named Christians in derision by the Hebrews, one who rushes into the multitude of rioters and with the sword enforces peace and is one who rushes into a multitude of rioters and with a sword enforces peace is a true Christian, a people whose faith is in arms and standing armies. The following words are synonymous. Brahma, Buddha, Christ, Christ with the C, Christ, 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 Kriste, Baal, Ashtaroth, Dagon, Vishnu, Ashdod, knowledge, wisdom, Krishna, light, Po, Tan, Wa, Manito, and in fact, a score of others. Okay. to crucify, to melt, to test by fire, to test by binding. The criminal form of testing a suis or sargus medium was by binding him on a wheel. See page 223 and page 636. Okay, so now let's hop down here. That's a few that we're familiar with, right? So let's hop down here to one of these ones. Was it? I think it was it IESU first, or was it ISA? IESU comes first. Listen to this, y'all. Listen. IESU. And here's where, after I read this a couple times, I'm like, oh shoot, I'm glad I got a couple extra Oahspes in the house. So I ran and got one of the blank Oahspes. And so this Oahspe is what I'm using to highlight stuff and add stuff back in that the John Lant plates shares with us, right? So I went right to the glossary because some of the definition has been removed from IESU. And that's why I was like, you know what, this is a win for the women. It reminded me of a question. I want to say who asked this question. I want to say it was Vanette a couple months ago when we was going over the definition of IESU, right? We was reading about Brahma and his wife. She asked the question, she inboxed me, and she said, do you think an IESU is just a man or could it be a woman? Right? I said, that's a good question, right? So I went and I read the definition of IESU, right, in the glossary. And in the index is not in here. It's just in there. But you can get further information on what IESU is, and it gives you like like I said, it gives you the story of Brahma. Brahma wasn't born IESU, but he attained to it as he got older, right? Remember his son Hog? And the creator was like, all right, G, about 18 more years. You got about 18 more years. I got a surprise for you, right? He's just keep being faithful, go and do what you do, teaching and living the truth, raising your family, be good to your wife and your children, teaching them the ways of life. Just go and do that, right? He ain't really give him any information on what was coming. Because there was periods in time in his life where he got kind of his wife, Yuta, was like, is there really a creator? Why is he not talking to us? Right? But this was like a period of training for them, right? You know how when to me, you can liken it to taking a test. The teacher is always present. The teacher's always present. But there's a time where the teacher absolutely must be quiet. They can't say anything to you because this is test time for you. They're there, they're watching, but you can't communicate with them, right? The only thing they're going to do, they're going to grade your test or they're going to stop the test. And you need to, some good teachers, especially if it's like one-on-one, they're watching you take it and they see you fit, we're going to stop the test. We're going to reschedule this, right? Just go back. You need to run through a few more lessons, right? This was that time during Brahma's life. There was a period of absolute quietness. And so there were some things that we read about him that had to be developed. And according to Creator, it took 18 years. But after this 18-year period, if you go back and read the story of Brahma, read it all the way through, it tells you at a certain point where he became IESU, right? Okay, so definition. Let's go back here to definition. What we see in Oahspe, the printed one that we got, it says IESU, IESU, comma, Yeshua, right? A sexless person, one born without the possibility of sexual passion, also one who has attained that state of mind to be one with all light, such as Brahma, improperly called IESUS or IESUS. The name Jesus was derived from this term. The Hebraic IEUE was made from IESU, which is one who can hear the voice of the Great Spirit. IU has been improperly confounded with Jehovah. That is the end of the definition, right? That is the end of the definition. And I last night or early this morning, I took my pink highlighter and I highlighted, and then I got my pen and I put ... There's something missing. And I went in and filled in what was missing from the John Lant plates. Now, back to, I believe it was, yes, Vanette, it was you. Okay. Vanette asked if, I'm like, because this blew my mind for a few minutes. I had to sit here and think about this. And then I was getting up and I know I'm about late every morning, but this is why I was late this morning, because me and my husband was talking about this right here, just trying to figure it out. And I'm like, I'm gonna tell them today, we got to get to this part because I'm gonna need some little bit of input as we think through this. So she said, could they, IESU, could they also be women? And as I began to think about it, and I thought about Brahma and everything and how he went through stuff, I was like, I believe so. It says a sexless person. I don't think that necessarily means that you were born without sexual members, right? I believe it's somebody who has control over their sexual nature, where it doesn't lead them and guide them into in their every waking moment of life. They're not being led by that brain, so to speak, right? And that's what I believe. You have like complete control over that aspect of your life. And people, and it can be tested, right? I think that's how we got started talking about semen retention. Men who have practiced semen retention, who practice, holding that in. Some of them try to beat the system. They're gonna go ahead and get it in and hold it back, and they just not gonna reach the climax. They're gonna retain all their fluids, but they can go have fun. And some of them they mess it up and they gotta start over, right? Because oh my gosh, we didn't let the waters flow. First of all, practicing true semen retention is not even going for a swim, my G. Go take your swimming trunks off. No swimming at all during this point. But what happens, something happens with the men, right? There is a spiritual enlightenment. And they could already be spiritual, but when they practice that for a period of time, it's like it's almost like fasting for them. It's like another, it is fasting. It is another level of fasting, right? They're not engaging to this just like fasting from food or whatever. They're for a period of time, they're not doing a certain thing in order to gain strength. And not only do they gain strength, it's hard first starting off. They gain strength in the beginning. It's like, oh my, I'm gonna walk around here with blindfolds on. I need to take off a month. How long I gotta do this? Like, but you shouldn't be having to ask nobody. That's something that should be resolved within yourself on what you're gonna do, right? But you have to put up things to make sure you can stick to your plan, right? Tantra, yoga, all of those things. Yeah, I don't know. Do they want to practice that while they're doing this, right? That's probably not what you were talking about. But tantric yoga, if you're married, go practice that with your spouse. I got a whole playlist with tantric yoga sultry songs that me and my husband use. Oh my gosh, anyway, I digress. So, but when you fast from that, it's another whole level of fasting, and it literally causes the men to rise to a higher spiritual level, right? It things like clear up fogginess, clears with these same things that happen when you actually fast from food. Happens to men when they fast from sexual intercourse, and they withhold those fluids, right? Because those fluids, it's not just to create a baby or to release something, get this up off you, or whatever, however you want to term it. There's actually nutrients in that. And it will have to be, because that's the substance that creates another life, right? But if you keep that inside yourself and you learn a little bit about the chakras and your aura and the spiritual system, and you put these little pieces together, and what begins to happen as your nutrition begins to cycle the body, and how it opens up the chakra at the top of your head, and the information from high above can begin to funnel in and circulate through your body. You can be like, okay, so what we need to do? Semen retention. Is there a semen retention for women? Like, look, I was looking into this. I was like, I know women don't have semen, but is there a semen retention for women? We're gonna have to clear this. Me and my husband gonna have to do this together, because we still kind of like in the prime of our marriage, and we really enjoy this. But if there's something higher to begin, which I do know is something to it, because even when couples come together, I'll say committed couples who love one another, we talked about it before. Some people term it sex magic, but there is something that happens when you have two like parties come together who are joined not just in body, but in spirit and in love, mutual love with one another, there's something spiritual that happens. And so if you have a need in your life, you can, so like I said, some people call it sex magic, but if you understand it, as you begin to exchange energy back and forth, when you're about ready to reach the climax or whatever, that's where the veil is the thinnest. And if you have any kind of issue, it's almost like you can just drop them prayers right. If you want to call it, they can just drop them prayers right there in that spiritual realm or whatever it is that you have need of. You can just like literally, you don't even have to speak it. You can just think it at them, because we done tested it both ways. Me and hubby, we got to. I told you this is science lab, so we test some stuff just to see if these things be true. But you get almost like immediate answers to those type of, we'll call them prayer requests, that you do at those particular times, right? You got to practice to really understand what I'm saying about that. Yeah, they do. They give themselves more light. So, okay, so let's go back. The next question, can IESU be women? So thinking about all of this, the bits and pieces of it, I was like, well, yeah, because it's not really referring to the actual organs of the person, male or female. It's like a state of mind, how you carry yourself. I would say, in my own thinking, this I said, don't quote me, but I would think, based on all that I know up till today, that women can be IESU, right? Even though we don't see any stories here, but from what I understand, I believe so, right? So now let's go back to this definition. I'm gonna read it again, and then I'm gonna read the portion that they didn't add in here. Look up Anna de Ma. I believe she was one female yogi. Did I say that right? I'm gonna leave this up. I'm gonna look her up. Okay. Thank you for that, Bronze Yoga. Look, hold on. That's why. Look, that's probably why you got the name Bronze Yogi. You probably practice some of this stuff, right? He said that's why a man shouldn't be doing it every day. Yeah, you releasing vital energy sources. Oh my gosh, you seen that episode of The Simpsons when Homer decided to practice semen retention? Y'all can Google it. I'm a post. I may have shared it before. I want to say I did. Go Google YouTube Homer Simpson semen retention, right? It literally takes men to another level of physical clarity, understanding, but they spiritually get wiser, right? Which is why you have to be careful about pretty little things walking past you, enticing your male members and parts, right? No, she beautiful, yes. Sis smell good. I know you want to go for a swim. Leave her alone, because you're gonna sacrifice you're gonna, for a moment's pleasure, you're going to sacrifice higher spiritual insight and wisdom. If you want to do that and be able to retain that, you should have a wife, one steady partner where you can exchange these life forces and give them back to one another. Because if you're releasing this life force just every night with a different woman, different man, you're spreading yourself. You're never getting that energy back. It's never being recycled from the partner, given back to you. Like, there is so much, and you really deplete yourself when you when you just have multiple sexual partners, men and women, right? Listen, what book? Who just sent me this? What book was you reading when you read about sex magic and practiced it? I done read through a lot of stuff. One that I recommended. Now I know it's the Egyptology, whatever, but Dr. Oahspe, he does a really good job with explaining some things, right? But there's also another book that I mentioned that I said we were going to read, but we haven't gotten to it yet. And I'm not exactly sure when we're going to get to it, but I mentioned it to y'all if y'all wanted to get it. And they priced the book. It ain't that high, but some of y'all may not be willing to pay the price for it. When I purchased it, I paid $145 for it. When I went to look for it, it was almost at $300. It's called The 7 eyes of light. Hold on. I'm sorry, not the 7, the 9. Okay. And I know I ain't even got to this, that, hold on. Okay. So now when I be showing y'all this stuff, don't be like, oh, she in Egyptology. Listen, there's truth to be found everywhere. I am a diligent searcher for truth. When I find something, I may not agree with everything, but things that I come to find out that is true, that we can use, something that's testable, I'll test it. If it works and it's good, I'll keep it, right? If not, that's what we got the trash can for. And the matches that I keep in my pocket, right? We set it on fire. We got a table, a shelf, and a trash can. Remember that, right? We are researchers. We're checking to see if these things be true, like the Bereans. So this is one of the ones. It's called Sacred Sexuality. I don't get paid from any of this stuff. I'm just telling y'all the stuff that I went through. Egyptian Tantric Yoga. Reading through this is really, really good, right? And it gives you a lot of insight into some things. The actual the actual practice of engaging in sexual intercourse with a husband and wife when they first come together and what's supposed to happen. You ain't supposed to just, excuse my French, you ain't supposed to just come together the first time you get married just to bust a nut, right? There's supposed to be a whole spiritual thing that happened. That's just the icing on top of the cake. So to speak, right? Look.
None of y'all better have laughed at that. Y'all are disgusting. Y'all
they're
need
all
Jesus.
Adults, and they're probably sitting here with their spouses watching. We all adults here. Go ahead and get out of here, 19-year-old son. Right.
Oh,
so
Jesus.
listen. Look. So but there's this spiritual thing that happens. Look, text me, need to borrow that book. I told you to get one. I didn't even know you was here. Hanging out in the background. Listen. So this is really insightful, but also along with this, and this is the book, Dr. Oahspe's, all his books range about the $20 to $40 mark, right? But this right here, this, I really do want to read this because this, oh my gosh, I decided to do this one versus these other two. It's a volume 1 and 2 because I think this is, this brings everything together a lot more. It's really easy to read, and it breaks down the different portions of the body, the aura, the ka, the ba, the shu, the shadow, like all of these terms and stuff. And you will get the Egyptian terms, but you will realize what those terms are that we use today, right? You can call them medical terms or whatever, but I like this because it does that. So with this and this, there's like a whole spiritual education that happens that helps me put some things together, especially some things that kind of happen during more intimate moments between me and my husband. Was like, what is that? Well, what was that? Like even recently, now it's happened. You know how sometimes husbands and wives are sometimes, and I still ain't read the last. If you don't get to the last part of this definition, girl, we almost gotta go. Look, I'm trying to build up. Listen, but you know how sometimes you're married to somebody, you just spend time with somebody enough to where you begin finishing each other's sentences. Me and my husband began to notice, even recently, even like driving to Richmond and stuff and coming back. Because sometimes we be jamming out to music and we'll hold hands and but sometimes it'll happen to where we'll be quiet for a second and we go to speak and we're literally saying the same words. But we notice this happening more in these recent days. Like, yo, this is like not coincidence. My husband's like, great minds think alike. I said, babe, something else is happening. I said, this happens when we're touching. I said, you paid attention to that? And when I first brought it up, it happened like 2 more times. And recently, like 3 days ago, I was like, see, you see that? See, I said, look, we holding hands. I said, you see that? And so now we're trying to figure out the science of this and on purpose be able to use this because it's like we share the same thoughts and like at the same time we go to say the same thing using the exact word. Like we will be quiet and it's it's amazing, but I'm really trying to understand and get the science of it, right? So be really touchy-feely, which spouse touch them, right? It's something to all of this, not just, oh, I love you, baby, but seriously, there is energies and things that are being exchanged on a higher spiritual level. Okay, I get to see you because it's, hold on, did that open yet? Go ahead. Some of y'all done probably downloaded some stuff, which is why it was giving me problems this morning. Okay, listen. Zachariah said, Tantric yoga is the truth. You will have a different love for your spouse and humanity. Listen, I'm telling you. Look, that's probably a big help to why me and my husband last so long, right? We're really touchy-feely, right? When ain't nothing else going right, we know something we both know how to do. Why is you still in the kitchen? 19-year-old son. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Vinette said the couple is supposed to pray before sex. I learned that from Dr. Africa, especially if they're trying to have a baby. Look, no, not big size, sis. What in the world? Care if you don't go get you something cute and seduce your husband. He ain't touchy-feely. Well, sis, you got some work to do. Teach him how to touch you. Girl, listen, we need a whole different type of class for this. Because babies be watching my channel. Okay, listen. Vinette said the couple is supposed to pray before sex. I learned that from Dr. Africa, especially if they're trying to have a baby. I have seen that, I have heard that. Now, when you do it, you ain't got to be all super religious. Father God, in the name of Jesus, before we partake in this, whatever, however you pray and do it. I don't think it's like that. It's just like a solemn quietness, and we don't even like get down on our knees. Like, what we got to get? He know what we about to do. Wow, undressing and caressing. We just thank you, Father God, for the gift of man and all these. Let me stop. I was about to say something. I was going to use something from the Song of Solomon. Listen. Look, Jamia, my husband is, but I'm not. I'm evolving though. Yeah, I'm evolving too. Look, I learned how to get some wisdom from quite a few places, right? Not crazy places, but I don't know how to look and observe things, and I ain't getting none of what I learned from porn, right? Well, let's just put that out there. Although earlier on in life, who was like, yeah, that is not what it's about. We don't need to, right? So we many years. There's different ways you can learn things. You can talk to some older women who are married, right? Older women who aren't afraid to talk about that particular portion of marriage, because it really is. It's really important. It really is. And not just because, it's a duty. When you have the proper teaching about it and a proper mindset, it's like, babe, I can't wait to get the children to bed. Sometimes like, bump them kids, close the door. It'll be 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's one of the beautiful things about working with your spouse. You can create your days off and just get away. They got this set up. You just got to like do things on purpose, right? Set aside time to do this, right? Okay, so all that came out of the next question. About if an IESU can be a woman. So based on, like I said, everything that I knew and understood up to this point, and I still stand on that. Yes, women can be IESU, and we're gonna check out this woman, Brian. I think it was Brian Joe gave us. I forget the name. We're gonna go check her out. Okay, so let's go back to this, and then I'm gonna read it. Where we at? It's 8:05. An hour and 44 minutes. Okay, so on page 778 of the Big Blue, right? The definition, IESU, Yeshua, a sexless person, one born without the possibility of sexual passion, also one who has attained that state of mind to be one with all light, such as Brahma, improperly called IESUS, IESUS. The name Jesus was derived from this term. The Hebraic word IU was made from IESU, IESU, and IU is IEEU. One who can hear the voice of the Great Spirit. IU has been improperly confounded with Jehovah. And in the John Lant plates, it goes on to say, men who attain, and I immediately thought about Vanette when I was reading this early this morning and her question. It says, men who attain ISU are said to have attained the state of woman, i.e., to have changed sex. Changed sex, sex. And so when I first read that, I was like, that don't mean they gonna lose their man parts and now have a vagina. Clearly that's not what that means, right? So I read it, I said, it's said to have attained the state of a woman, to have changed sex. Okay, one who can hear clearly. And I started thinking about women, how women are intuitive. And not that men can't hear from the Creator just as clear as women, but there's something, forgive me for lack of the proper words when I'm trying to explain this, not trying to say one is better than the other, but just kind of running all these things through my head, right? And thinking about the process of people being born, and how all people who are born, including the men, when they're conceived, it all starts out the same. Everybody conceived starts out as woman, and it goes through this process. I forget which week, where somebody here more medical can probably explain it better, but something happens to where something changes, and then if it's going to be a boy, it changes, and now what now is hanging outside, like his testicles and his penis, it like Tiffany Haddish said, she said, a penis ain't nothing but a vagina that fell out. Right? Think about it. The woman's cervix and the ovaries, the man's penis and the vagina. What happens, that if you want to put it that way, that's kind of what happens, for lack of better terms, that's actually what happens. And for it to become a male, it just falls out. It's just the opposite, right? So we was thinking about this, and I was talking to my husband, and he said, read that again. I said, okay. Men who attain IESU are said to have attained the state of woman, to have changed sex. And he said, well, I wonder if it means maybe like spirit. He said, how like when the Bible refers to the church and refers to her as she. I said, yeah, I get that. Yes, sir.
That's uncle.
I got it. So we didn't finish the conversation, but we was really just getting into it. So I wanted to know what you guys thought about that. IAS men, it specifically says men, MEN, men who attain, and it's not just talking about mankind, it's specifically here talking about men, like male and female, because it goes on to begin to say after this that he attained state of woman, right? So this is interesting. And like I said, this is still at the beginning in the definition, so I'm not sure if we get on further, this explains this in detail somewhere else, right? I know some of y'all probably go ahead of me and read some stuff or whatever, but if you come across it, let me know. So that's the rest of this definition, IESU, right, which is not found in this. They removed that portion. I was like, I could see how the shenanigans in that. It was probably the Masonic brothers who was like, they probably removed this. What? We attain to the state of woman? Absolutely not. Take that out, John. Take that out. Give us the book back. You go, new edition. Take this out, right? So it seemed to me Canada is giving me he's giving me King James vibes here. Listen. Okay, we'll read it one more time. I'm gonna read the whole thing over, and then we're gonna hop over here to this code word named Isaiah. Hold on. It's neither. I know I'm not the medical, but thank you, Tony. He said it's neither until it splits open to expose what the gender is. Right. So it's yeah. we're gonna have to have medical people come up here and explain, or we're gonna have to get a video or something, right? But the whole point was we have opposite parts. Whatever's on the inside of us hangs out on a man, and whatever's inside on him hangs out on us, right? It's like with a perfect mirror. So not perfect mirror, but maybe not a mirror. The perfect opposite pieces. Y'all get what I'm trying to say, right? Yeah. Like up and down, in and out, man and woman, and even our parts represent. Y'all get what I'm trying to say? My son said, no. Okay, listen. IESU, Yeshua, a sexless person, one born without the possibility of sexual passion, also one who has attained the state of mind to be one with all light, such as Brahma, and properly called IESUs, IESUs, like Jesus. I guess if you rhyme, Jesus, Jesus, IESUS. The name Jesus was derived from this term. The Hebraic word IEUE was made from IESU, one who can hear the voice of the Great Spirit. IU has been improperly confounded with Jehovah, and what was taken out that we find in the John Lant plates is men who attain IESU are said to have attained the state of woman, i.e., to have changed sex. And that's what it says here, right? Okay, so with that one, let's hop down to Isaiah or Isaiah, right? ISSAH or Isaiah, like, and it's spelled like the Isaiah, the prophet Isaiah in the Bible, and that's the same way how I spell my son's name, Isaiah. ISAIAH, right? Listen to this. Hold on. Isaiah, I apostrophe S-A apostrophe A-H. Listen, it is or Isaiah, a Chinese prophet. The word Isaiah is of modern Hebrew. Most likely the ancient Phoenicians disguised, hold on. Most likely the ancient Phoenicians disguised the Chinese name purposely, is, and it's breaking down what the name means. And this is why I was saying, now I'm looking into something that has that gives you it, like prophets code words and stuff, right? Let's listen to this, you'll see what I mean. Isaiah, a Chinese prophet. The word Isaiah is of modern Hebrew. Most likely the ancient Phoenicians disguised the Chinese name purposely. Is means faith, A means knowledge, A-H, above the earth. A prophet. Isaac is faith is in something above the earth. Hold on. Is that Isaac? Isaac is faith is in something above the earth. Yeah, faith is in something above the earth. Okay. Israel, and it breaks it up. I-S apostrophe R-A apostrophe A-L, right? It says Israel, faith in Jehovah. A password in the fourth degree of a lodge of prophets. Ra, however, in Hebrew is evil. Dr. Ruth. Don, you funny. Look, Ron said it's gonna be my new nickname, Dr. Ruth. Look, okay, hold on. Look, that's one of the big anchoring portions that help keep our marriage together. That and laughter, right? A good time and laughter. Okay, so let me read this again. And if this is true, this turns a lot of things on its head to me, right? Especially if all the prophets' names were in fact encoded and are passwords, right? Listen, Isaiah, a Chinese, and I'm probably saying that wrong. It's Isaiah. Isaiah, I-S-A-A-H, or Isaiah, I-S-A-I-A-H. Isaiah, Isaiah, a Chinese prophet. The word Isaiah is of modern Hebrew. Most likely the ancient Phoenicians disguised the Chinese name purposely. Is means faith, a knowledge, above the earth, a prophet. Isaac is faith is in something above the earth. Israel, faith in Jehovah. A password in the fourth degree of a lodge of prophets. Ra, R-A, however, in Hebrew is evil. Okay. I was thinking about something. I didn't put it in. I didn't put in here. All right. So what y'all think about that? Let me go to where's the next one? So all these names with the I guess we'll have to do a little, hold on, where'd it go? We'll have to do a little bit of decoding, right? And I would say like is we need to figure out it, we probably read it already, but it's not clicking at the moment. The definition of these terms, like where it says is, or like is is means faith, a means knowledge, means above the earth, like Oahspe, which is sky, earth, spirit. Did I get that right? I'm probably messing it up, but I want to say I don't know if it's all being derived from the Panic language or a mixture of some things. Whatever the prophets were using, if we can get or figure out what it was that the prophets were using to encode what they were saying so they could talk about it freely, right? And those who had the insight of these things would be able to decipher it. This is why prophecies are wrong. It's all this decoding of words. So the faithists had a language that they spoke to those so they can speak freely about the creator and what was happening. So that's what I'm looking for now. I'm looking, and I know it's something secret, but I'm sure it might be out there somewhere. I don't know. Download it to me, right? Help us decode some other things, right? So, but this is really caught my eye right here. So I'm gonna be looking into this. If y'all come across anything, probably in South, probably had to go back like that. The Samoan plate, something Panic or Fanese. Yeah, I don't know, but we gotta figure it out, y'all. That's like the next big thing. Figuring this out, a password in the fourth degree of a lodge of prophets. So I guess if we maybe start studying, if y'all want to, but I'm gonna be looking into it. The fourth degree of a lodge of prophets. Fourth degree. Okay, so what's the first, second, and third before you get to the fourth? Right. All of these things, and this, and it could be in here through the book of cosmogony and prophecy. I just haven't been able to put those pieces together yet, but it's probably already in here, and I just got to keep looking over it till I find it. But as I understand more and bring it out, I'm gonna be sharing with y'all whatever y'all get shared with me. Y'all read ahead in this, which I know some of y'all will, because my day be super busy, so I only really get like at the end of the day after everybody's laid down, or if I get a few free moments, I can look over some of this stuff. But whatever y'all find, whatever y'all come across, share with a sister. All right, so we had an hour and 58 minutes. There was I went down a little bit more in the definitions, and I was just looking at some things, and I saw some little slight changes. But the two that stood out to me that I really wanted to talk about today was those two: that name Isaiah and how it's encoded, and also the IESU, right? And how that last sentence that was missing. Men who attain IESU are said to have attained the state of woman, to have, i.e., to have changed sex. And so I guess we really need to look into that, what it really means about attaining to the state of woman, right? And I'm sure it's not just a physical thing. Not sure if it's slang or if that's encoded or something that's something that's known about women. That's like I don't know how to explain it. Like I don't know if that's encoded as well. So, but that's what we're trying to figure out. So, but yeah, so that's it for today. We didn't even get to feel God to the spirit world. So, yeah, that's gonna be it for today. We just took 2 whole hours to go through this portion of the John Lant plates, and this is still hasn't got into some of the first portions of it, y'all. So I'm gonna spend tomorrow going through as much as I can of this and just kind of looking into some stuff. I know some of y'all may not be observing the Sabbath tomorrow, but for this moon cycle, it does fall on Friday for us, those here in North America, right? It could be Saturday if you over in Jerusalem, that side of the world. But anyway, that's it for today, y'all. So let me know what y'all come up with. And I still got other stuff that that we ordered with these collections and stuff from New Mexico, but I won't have that until after the new year. Like I explained, I think it was yesterday. I explained yesterday in yesterday's video that because of the holidays, people are going home. And this scan is 686 pages. And they had to scan it because it wasn't digitized. She sent me a picture of it sitting in a box, and she said these are really old and delicate. It was another word she used, but like delicate. And she said these have to be scanned page by page, and it was only 2 of them there, so they was doing it in shifts. And shucks, they was pretty fast, but they couldn't stick it in there like. She said they had to do it one by one just because of how old it was. So that's that. So what they're gonna probably do now, since we apparently, I don't know, well, I guess we may be the first ones that requested this in digital format, so it might be available now. It might be one of the ones, because when you go to the New Mexico the archives for this, remember they have a whole collection, everything about Shalom. I ordered a lot of stuff from there that wasn't digitized. They have some things that's already digitized. Can you come get the book? I didn't know you was hanging out in the background. Yeah, you come get it. I know you live at. Come on and get it. She's talking about this tantric book. What was I just saying? Yeah, I'll be like a squirrel sometimes. I'll be forgetting my train of thought. What was I saying? But anyway, look. Yeah, this was good. That's why Mason spoke in code. True. Tasanya Shalom says, how do I receive a copy? Sis, email me. Matter of fact, put it in. Y'all got to send me email because I get so much stuff. When I go to check the emails for this, just put it in the subject. Be like, John Lant, please. And I'll respond with it. It's a link. When you get it, you have to download it immediately, right? Because they only made the link available to me for 2 weeks. Right. So, and I was scared that I was like, okay, so are they tracking downloads? So I wasn't sure if I gave it out, and some people that got it that I didn't even send it to, meaning somebody that I sent it to is sending it out, which is okay. It's fine with me. Right. I told you I wasn't charging nobody for none of this. This is my personal research for my growth. For those that want to come along with me while we find out stuff, I share what I got. You, long as you share with me what you got, like we can do this together, right? I don't require anything from anybody, because if y'all weren't here, I was going to do it anyway and spend my own money to do it, right? So if you want it, I got you. Email me and I'll respond to you with it, right? So like I know what I was saying. They may, because it seems like we're the first ones who requested this in a digitized fashion. And people, I don't even think people knew where this was at. Like, I mean, I'm like, but how did you not find it? I found it, right? Little nosy black girl. I found it, right? I found it. And I'm like, y'all, look what I found. And I put the whole thing. I was like, so they got a whole, they had so much stuff that they got, the interviews. I got the interviews that they got from people that were actually there in the original community of Shalom. It has pictures of some of the original children who were there, some pictures of the layout, what was done, different things, some of the happenings that was going on there, the interviews that they did with people after Shalom fell and it went to pot, the original one. And since then, there's been a few other places where it's raised up communities of Shalom trying to operate in the same principles, but from a higher light that we understand. We know now it's going to be a set aside people, but it's not going to be like, yo, Shalom is over there, let's everybody go over there. No, Shalom is a worldwide principle that should be taking place all over the earth. The whole earth should be shalom, right? There are principles from what I understand, what I was getting while I was going through this. This is what shalom was supposed to be. In Oahspe, they did the same thing like they do with the Holy Bible. They take principles and they embody them. You see it in a lot of places. They embody it and they give it characters and people, and they separate it and put it in a place. When that's good for a teaching aid, these were simply just tutorials, right? These were just examples, not that you worship these, right? We use these, teach you about idols, where people began to worship the images when they were only supposed to be teaching tutorials. And that's what got John Newborough in trouble. The example in Oahspe that talks about shalom and how it would be worldwide, they decided to physically try to implement the example that they saw in there, when shalom in here was simply trying to teach you a principle of what it should be all over the world. Because faith is, we're scattered to the four corners of the earth, no matter what you want to call us, Israel, whatever. But we're scattered all over the world. The principles should be happening everywhere. There should be light scattered everywhere, helping to raise up those who are of lesser light. And shalom, or peace, should be growing all over the earth, right? That's what shalom truly is, according to my understanding and what I've learned up till today. It's not and you can have set aside communities, right? And you will have them like our separate families. We are a community of shalom within a bigger community, city, state, nation of other small families. You get it? It's the same thing. So not to purposely say we're gonna go build a community away from everybody else. No, it should be in a mix, because the purpose of these principles is to teach them. Excuse me. That's why children have parents. Imagine if you sent off all the children somewhere, and like you kind of see where it began unraveling in shalom with what they did, right? I'm like, y'all totally missed the principles of what was being taught here, right? And not that it's bad. You got some good things. I am not saying people that's doing it, because they still have communities that are doing that in a few places here, even in the United States. And that's cool. I ain't got no problem with that, right? But like we was talking yesterday, you can be separate, but don't forget what your purpose is. Don't be separated so long that you isolate yourself, and all this goodness and all the wisdom and stuff you get, and you're not even sharing it. You're gonna girl, like you cut the video off and came over here.
No, it's running in the car. I just came from work. I was at work.
Look, this my sister nurse, the one that be running the hospital. Girl, look. Oh, I told you to get your copy.
I don't remember. But
let's see how much you be paying attention to me. Girl, get out of my house. Yeah, you ain't getting this one. You better order your own, girl. This note. Yeah.
Download me the link to the plates.
You need to download it yourself.
You said send an email.
Oh, all right.
Okay, send it to me.
Send me an email.
All right.
You're welcome. Don't let that get lost. Okay. Look. That's my sister. She funny. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought again, y'all. It's time to go. Because today I'm just sitting here working on paperwork. I ain't got no meeting. Oh yeah. I always refer to the Amish community when thinking community. They're together but separate. Yeah. So all that, even if you separate for a period of time and you come back and you bring what you learn to other people, I mean, you can go back, you can live. That's fine. Like, I really don't have any issues with that. Like, I want to live in a kibbutz. Like in Hebrew, they call it a kibbutz. It's a community of like-minded people that share the same beliefs and everything. And I think it's good, right? But like a family kibbutz, like with my family, with people that like I already know, not that other people can't come in, but my family, I have a pretty huge family. We've actually talked about it, and getting land, and it's in the works. It started and it stopped, and just looking at different things. You got different personalities and people, and it takes a while to develop something like that. But yeah. I'm not against it, but the point is that the principles should reign. The principles of shalom should reign, and help bring everybody to a higher light. And that's what this era is: the era of cosmon, the era of higher light. And you see it happening all over, not just in people coming out the Hebrew communities and Christianity and Islam, and everybody's kind of meeting at this middle ground. Like, man, you what? All these different people coming out of different backgrounds because we sick of the crap, right? We're doing away with all of that. We need a higher light. We're tired of going around in circles, talking about the same thing. It should be a progression, which is why we constantly move here. We ain't gonna be in Oahspe forever. We're gonna learn the principles and we're gonna keep on going, because once we get this light in and it assimilates all through our shanana, deep down to the depths of it, we get that light and we operate in it. I'm looking to see a higher light, higher than Oahspe. And that light might even come from us, from this generation. Matter of fact, it has to come from somebody in this generation, right? Each generation, they get a higher light. Certain people get it who have prepared themselves. So may that be said of us. May we be some of the ones that get that higher light and share it with the world, because now with the advancement of technology, it can be shared with everybody all over the world at a moment's notice. They can just get online, tap right into the internet, and get the wisdom and literally have immediate downloads, even if it's by the medium of YouTube or Facebook or the little TikTok snippets or Snapchat, whatever. I don't use Snapchat. I don't even know how to use it. My kids be using TikTok. And if you're friends, you found us on TikTok, I don't be doing none of them videos, clearly. It's probably 2 videos that me and hubby uploaded 2 years ago on summer vacation. But the kids in there, you see Bella and they're dancing and all kind of crazy stuff. And I was like, give me my phone. And I had to go in there and delete all that crap. Yeah, I'm just like, what is y'all doing? Yeah, so yeah, but I think I'm looking at trying to do like little snippets, because sometimes my video will be too long. All right, son, do little snippets of some of these little nuggets that come out through here, and just give little short bursts of different things. Because people like me, I watch long stuff, but my attention span is really short unless it's something I really, really like. You said TikTok is the devil. Probably is. I don't know, but we're gonna use it for its we're gonna use it for its strengths, right? Okay, y'all. So let's go ahead and get out of here. Uh-oh. I knocked y'all off. I'm sorry. You don't do TikTok. Most people like us, most of us don't. It's the younger generation, like my sons, my teenage son. They all into that. They like Facebook. And although he has a page, he's not really active. Even our Instagram, we'll post it. I halfway read the messages and stuff just because I'm a Facebook baby. I don't know. I like it. Facebook and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like business. Keep it totally separate for our company and everything. That you wouldn't even know I do devotional videos on LinkedIn. It's just straight professional. But yeah, so it's that's their outlet there. Hopefully you get some righteous, level-headed people in their generation that can take TikTok and turn it around and use it for its strengths to teach wisdom to those that are just, and some of the ones that are just doing foolishness, they'll land on their video from time to time, right? And that'll be a medium for light to get to them, right? So everything has its place. Yeah, and used for good. They say China is stealing data from people who use TikTok. Yeah, they did. They say that. But listen, do you think America cares about that? Not being disrespectful, but think about this. Not only are they stealing data, right? But before they were stealing data, they were stealing intellectual property. Not even, listen, they ain't stealing it, y'all. We're giving it to them. We're giving it to them. That's what this day of social media, they give you all these gadgets, and it's up to you to read the terms and conditions and the uses of these things that you engage in. People just, oh yeah, terms and conditions. Do you agree to this? Yep. And sometimes you can't just click agree. You have to actually scroll through, which is another safety, a safety whatever for them, the creators of it, they said, well, you had to scroll through. So according to this, when you scroll through and you get all the way to the end, you have to consciously do that and click accept, which tells us the computer or whatever, the software, that yes, you have read and you agree to all these terms and conditions and what is going to be done and what possibly we're going to do with said information that you upload here. You make it our property. Nobody think about that. They want to holler and scream they stuff been stolen. No, that it will never hold up in a court of a law. It will not, right? Even when Facebook is connected to Google, which is connected to DARPA, right? And a lot of people don't know that. The government, they get into cahoots with some of the developers of some of these things, and they pull information. They may not tell you, they may not use it, but they find your hind parts when they need to with all the information you've supplied them in your free time of scrolling through these social media apps, right? And we all know that. I mean, if you know that, you cool with it, okay. Now you know what information to put up there and not to put up there. And if you put something up there, don't get smart later, like, oh shoot, I shouldn't have put it up there. I'm gonna go take it off. From the time you uploaded it, it's stationary in space somewhere. Even if you delete it, if you delete everything that was attached to that, it's always there. You've given it to them, they're going to have it forever, right? And they are able to retrieve that information that you thought you deleted. You just deleted where you couldn't see it no more. But it never, that's a safety mechanism for them as well. It cannot be deleted. They tell you we don't, but they keep it because let something happen where they can pull on that information and you done just blew up something, they're gonna figure out a way to get this information to get you. They may not be able to say it was this, but they're gonna find a way to use the information that they got from this to catch your hind parts up. But yeah, they do it with all of it. Instagram, all of them, right? And Instagram and Facebook is pretty much one now as well. YouTube is owned by Google. All of them in cahoots together, y'all. All of them, right? So they're not stealing information. If we want to be technical about it, we freely give it up. And before we were doing that, America was using China, and China began bootlegging the stuff that we sent over there to be created cheaper, right? So we exchange our intellectual property for fatter pockets. I'm just like, and now we want to complain about it. I mean, who's really at fault here? It's time for all of us to take responsibility about what is going on. It's easy to pass the blame, pass the buck. Well, they wouldn't have it if you hadn't originally given it to them. Now would they? Right? So, but anyway, y'all, this is it for today. Yes, to go. I love y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Oh my gosh, it's 2 hours and 17 minutes. But anyway, y'all, it is Thursday. Happy Thursday. It is December the 15th, 2022, day 289 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, and of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1309. And we read today nothing but the John Lant plates. Oh, that was the thing. I think I was saying earlier. I may have finished it. I guess we're the first ones who requested that this be digitized, because people could have probably come and got copies of it. But if somebody had requested a digital format of it before, they would have already had it, and I wouldn't have to pay as much money for it as I did for them to digitize all this stuff. It would have been there, and they would have made it available. So I'm sure probably after this point, and then again, I don't know, maybe they got something going on to where, as if somebody requested, they just digitize it every single time. Because it's a business. You could do that, and you could choose not to upload this, make this something that's readily downloadable. They know this at this time is a hot commodity. People looking for it, right? And you can find it. I found it. I didn't even know what I was opening when I was connecting different websites and just clicking on stuff and reading through the fine prints. And I actually, I want to say it was because I was reading. What was it? I was reading through the comments of something, just being nosy. I read through the comment section being nosy because you can find a lot of nuggets in the comment section of places, right? And so I learned how to be like a gold miner and dig for gold, just scroll through. And when people mention stuff, that's how I found the book My Big Toe by Thomas Campbell down in the comment section while I was looking through some of while I was researching the chakras and everything, right? And it was like, y'all want, this is like real proof. Somebody was trying to tell people, it was like, it's a bunch of garbage, new age. And he said, you all should check out My Big Toe by Thomas Campbell. And he began to explain he was an engineer and tested some of these things in the government. I was like, oh, shoot, let me write that down. So that's how I found little nuggets. And we made it a part of our reading. Blew me away. Was able to verify some things spiritually that they know scientifically. And it's proven fact now. It's no longer just theory. It's proven fact, right? So I searched for little nuggets of gold, and this is how I found out about said plates. Somebody in the comment section alluded to hearing something about. I'm like, oh, you heard what? There was, oh, go ahead, let me read. And I kept reading a little bit further, and somebody said, oh yeah, I do remember. Somebody said there's like this wasn't like the original copy or something. Does anybody have that? I was like, does anybody got it? Did anybody bring it up? Nobody found it. I was like, well, I was on a new search. I was looking for something else. And here we are today with John Lant plates, right? Being held in New Mexico under supervision, because you can't be in there without supervision from some of the staff there because of it. And they said because it's so old, but I beg to differ. It's a high commodity. And it's stuff in there why they have it under certain types of supervision, right? So it could be that they may make it public now that it's digitized and everybody can pull it down from this Oahspe community site now where they have all of this stuff, all these interviews. But then again, they may not, right? I mean, and if they do, then everybody be blessed. We made it happen, right? It's the era of Cosmon. The information is coming out. I'm glad to have been a part of it, and I don't feel no ways about it, right? Share it. Just grow with it. Don't do anything nefarious with it, right? Truly be like, don't go and try and sell it to people because you didn't pay for it. I gave it to y'all for free. Don't do that. Don't hoard it from people who could use the information and grow from it. They may have a different perspective. They could bring some higher light to help us. So don't do that. I gave it to y'all for free, right? I ate the cost of that. Well, I say we ate the cost of this. Not that, but that's my hopes and goal and everything. Even like I say, even if nobody was here, if they wanted it, we was going to do that anyway, right? That's just a vow my husband and I we made before the Father. If there's anything, like if you ever use us to do anything, excuse me, we don't want to have to, because we despise the way churches take advantage of people and they dig into their pockets for stuff. Hold on, I need some water. They dig into their pockets for stuff to release information. People paying for prophecies, right? Did the Father make you pay for that? Why is you charging people for it? Right. I was like, so Father, we understand there are some things that need to be purchased. People are printing it or whatever, but bless us that we can be a blessing to others, and we'll just do it that way. So if you get it, if somebody find out about it and you got it, you hear about it, you can choose. It's in your hands now. Just grow with it, learn, share some stuff with me. If we still in contact, what you done learn, what you done got, what piece of the puzzle you got, right? All right. So with that being said, beautiful people, Father, we thank you for the John Lant plates. I love y'all. Keep reading through it, if y'all. Like I said, share with me what y'all get. I'm going to be reading over it the next couple of days or whatever. And I'm going to have something else. We're going to come back to it when we get back here Saturday. Hold on. Cosmosis. Shalom. Did you order the Black Root Science books, volume 1 and 2, recommended in the beginning of the Holy Megillah? I sure did. Listen, I actually had that before I had Holy Megillah. I heard about it. I was drawn to it. And I ordered it from Amazon. I got both volumes. I showed it to y'all before. Yes, I got both volumes. Right, 1 and 2, and I've gone through both of them. It is good. There is a gentleman who inboxed me. He asked me a question about this, I listened because he sent a voice message and we were talking back and forth, but I just got so busy. And if you hear listening, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but you write in there. He said something last referring to the Black Root Science books and everything. And I heard the messages, like 2 messages. I just didn't get a chance to respond to it yet. I've been so busy, especially with this new term in school started. Oh, y'all, listen, I'll be jumping from thing to thing. I just found out what I got for my last term. I was like, my grade that I got from this first term. I was like, you know what? I don't know that he gonna fail me. But he called me like, Miss Murphy, what is going on? Do you realize you are missing 8 assignments? I said, Professor Stevens, I know. I'm so sorry. He said, what's going on? I said, you know what? Anything that I say out of my mouth right now is going to be an excuse, and I'm not going to give that to you. I need to do better. That's what I said. And he just looked at me. He said, okay. You know, the term ends in 2 days. You got 8 assignments and they're papers, 2 to 3 page papers. I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to get it done. And he was like, I don't think you can do it, but if you say so, okay. I had them all turned in. I think because I kept my word and I got all them 8 papers in, and it said 2 to 3 pages, but going through everything, covering everything, because I knew I had to be like, because I was already late, that's 30 points off right off top. I knew I had to hit every other point, and I had to be thorough if I was going to get all the rest of them points to keep from failing my first term back in school. Listen, I was like, you know what? I'm scared to look at my grade. I said, because I deserve to fail this class. Look, I felt like the false gods at Judgment Day. It's like, I deserve to fail. And if you fail me, you would be justified in doing so. Seriously. That's how it was. And I was like, Father, I said, I'm graduating summa cum laude. I'm going to advance myself. And here I go with the procrastination stuff, right? And I did. I poured out my heart, standing in judgment before the throne of the Creator. You are just, and I rightfully deserve to be sent to Hada. And I won't complain if you send me there, right? I rightfully deserve to fail this course because of my poor time management here. And I didn't think I was going to fail, but I didn't expect to get anything higher than a D, right? I said, and I'm hoping for at least a C. You know, my professor gave me a B, and he gave me perfect points on all of my papers, with the exception of the late points. And he didn't even give me all the late points, which was 30 points right off the top. He only deducted 20 points. I'm like, oh, there is God in heaven. I was like, all right, I learned my lesson. Because I was about to say, like, I want it not. I'm getting out of here. I shouldn't have started school back. I don't want this kingdom. I don't want it. Nope. I done screwed it up. Nope. Come on. We're gonna give you another chance. Let's go. And I was so humbled looking at my grade. It literally brought me to tears. I'm like, I got a B. And I'm like, you know what? Thank you for the second chance. Right. So I can still reach my goal of I'm thinking. I think everything else needs to be perfect if I'm gonna still reach summa cum laude, right? Because next is magna cum laude. I mean, I kept like a perfect B plus average, right? So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, so the Black Root Science, you can, if you're getting overwhelmed with all the stuff you got to read, I ain't saying y'all got to get all of this, but YouTube, there's a young lady whose channel who did both volume 1 and 2. She did a really good job. It's nice and clear. She don't have a bunch of extra stories added. She just reads it. It's really clear. Her voice is really nice to listen to, and she breaks it up in the chapters, in the volumes, according to the book. So if you got the book and you want to just listen to her and follow along with it, or just listen to it, all of that is there, everything, volume 1 and volume 2. And I'll reshare the playlist for those of you the stuff in here. But it's a lot of stuff in here that we'll find talked about in Oahspe. There are some things that they give different terms and definitions to. There are a lot of questions asked through here, different people's perspectives. It talks a lot about the Black nation, all those different things. But it talks about some of the cosmogony things in here, not as detailed as Oahspe does, but it's really good, right? Introduction to physics and astronomy, the solar system and the atom, the universe, the separation distance of stars and atoms, the size of the earth, the size of the universe, the creation of the universe, and it goes on. The mystery of soulmates. When I got it, everything that it said about marriage, that's what I was hopping to first, right? I was like, oh, this is good. But it talks about Israel in here, the chosen people of Yahweh. You got the different terms you're gonna have to decipher based on like what we learned in Oahspe, everything that we know. So some things you're gonna have to adjust. And that was his question. Excuse me, something alluding to that about the terms and what they call the people. And I was just going to tell him, if you listen, I'm sorry, I forgot what your name is. I was just going to say, just read it through. You're going to have to use your own judgment and be able to decipher the terms and not get caught up on terms like this is it, or then this wrong, this is garbage. No, there's a lot of wisdom to be found and pulled from that. You just have to understand that terms have been mixed up, different definitions, all this, and you just have to be able to pick those things out, understand it, to read it like you like you need to pull out the truth and the meat of everything, right? So yeah, the Black Root Science, you got to go through there and do that. I'm not exactly sure when we're gonna get to the 9 eyes of light. They call this the ascension keys from Egypt, right? So this is what we talked about. I mentioned it earlier. It gives you a lot of insight of what we find here in Oahspe about the structure of the spirit, how it operates. Yeah, I'm gonna just keep it like that, how it operates. And when I got it, I figured it was worth the investment getting this. Like I said, last time I checked, it was about at $300. I got it like when I was crazy. When I got it and I started talking about it, because when I got it, I mentioned it, and I think people started looking for it. So the publisher who was selling it through Amazon, they raised the price. So I'm just, and that stuff I don't like either. I get supply and demand, but now people getting greedy, and that burns my buttons. So when I find things that are free, I'll share it with y'all, because there's some people that are just not honest, and they don't care. They don't care. They don't care about growth. They just care about padding their pockets, So, and I take issue with that a lot. So I'm gonna understand people gotta live, but to jack up prices on something like this, that I mean, and you're not even the one that wrote it. You're not the one that wrote it, But anyway, I'm just rambling on. But anyway, we still gonna get to this. If you want to get it, like I said, last time I checked, it was earlier in the year when I checked, but I'm not sure if the price is going down or if it's going up even more. But last time I checked, it was about at $300. So this is really good, and I think this will bring a lot of insight. I would say it'll confirm some things that we read in here through Oahspe about the spirit and the happenings and stuff. So it's really good. It gives you another perspective of the spirit and how it operates. So I skimmed through a lot of the little portions. I was like, yeah, Oahspe talks about this. It's really, really good. I love information. I can talk for what? You just looked it up? My mama said it is now, I told y'all, $451.72 on Amazon. Woo. Boy, I tell you. Honor, humility, shalom, shalom, Selah. What's going on? Peace, family. Look. Yeah, so they try to price people up. I ain't gonna say that. It could be one or two things. They're greedy and they're trying to pad their pocket. They see it's a hot commodity and they're gonna raise the price on it, just like people do when they get limited versions or limited editions of different types of shoes, like the Jordans or what. I'm like, who in their right mind gonna pay $2,500 for a pair of tennis shoes? Right? You buy them to put on your feet. Yeah, it can be stylish. You can wear the style or whatever, but they're tennis shoes. Like, if you're not a full-grown adult, you ain't gonna wear them forever. And who wears tennis shoes forever? Right? Especially if you use them for what they're, I mean, granted, you use them for fashion, just put it on with this outfit just to look cool. You keep it for years. That's fine too. But whatever. Don't get me started. There's better ways you can use that money. You could have. All right. Anyway, we about to go. That's crazy. $451. Yeah, sometimes it could be people, they just greedy, want to pad their pocket, or they trying to price people out. They don't want certain people to have the information, right? So we got a trick for them. We got a business popping, and we're gonna get what we want. Even if we got to hide our face, even if we got to hide our face and disguise our voice to sound like we come from somewhere else, if we perceive that somebody's being biased towards us because of what we look like, right? I had to do that a couple times to get some much needed information. Is that deceitful? In a way, I guess you could say, right? But I don't take too kindly people like, this is not even your information. Just put it out there at a price to sell and leave people alone. Don't choose. And I mean, I guess you can. You can choose and pick who you want to sell your whatever you got in your possession to. Whatever. Just do right by people just because it's right, not because they're a certain color or whatever, right? Because that's wrong. That's wrong, right? But anyway, let me go. I done said I'm getting out of here like 10 times now. Global Purpose said, right now, spirituality is being more and more pimped. Shaking my head. I know, right? All right, y'all, that's it. We got to get out of here. If you came in late, go back to the beginning when we started reading the John Lant plates. We just got it in. It's hot, off the press. First one's got it digitized and we're reading through it. And if anybody, like if you go back and listen to the points that I made about what was taken away from this ISU, like men who attain the portion that we read in the John Lant plates that we don't find here in Oahspe is the definition of ISU. I'm gonna read it one more time, right? And then we'll go. On page 778 of Big Blue, it says a sexless person, one born without the possibility of sexual passion, also one who has attained that state of mind to be one with all light, such as Brahma, improperly called IESUs. The name Jesus was derived from this term. The Hebraic word IEUE was made from IESU, one who can hear the voice of the Great Spirit. IEUE has been improperly confounded with Jehovah. And that's where the definition ended here. In the John Lant plates, there was another sentence added, and it says, men who attain ISU are said to have attained the state of woman, i.e., to have changed sex. So if y'all have any more insight on that, clearly we know their penis is not going to turn into a vagina, right? It's more of a spiritual thing. But like I said, as we read on, if you come across it in there, if you can pinpoint the page where it expounds on that, and I know we just got in, we'll probably come across it where it explains that in more detail. That would be a great help because we already brought it out. I don't want to kind of add to it as we come across things, just to kind of put this piece of the puzzle together, right? And it helps further answer Vanette's question about if women can also attain to ISU. And we assume based on what we knew that they could, but this point right here lets us know that absolutely, which also makes me think about the women goddesses who hold, according to Oahspe, who holds like the higher ranking positions and stuff, and how they graduate the classes of brides and bridegrooms. Like all of this stuff go together. I feel it in my brain and in my shot. I'm now trying to piece together. I know I'm missing some stuff, but this we definitely got to expound on. What was missing, what we found in the John Lant plates, is that extra sentence for the definition of ISU. ISU. Men who attain ISU are said to have attained the state of woman, i.e., to have changed sex. So, all right, y'all. You found a used copy for, oh, look, she on it. Probably ain't no more. My mama be on it, y'all. She just found a used copy for $88. Just ordered. Did they only have one? If they had more than one, post a link because I'm sure some people want to get it. But anyway, share it when we in here. Put it in the comment section or respond to one of the comments in the community section and say, we got to go, y'all. All right, I love y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out today. Wait, you just loaded a down. Wait, let me clarify this before I end it. You downloaded a PDF for what, Ema? Okay, my mama said it's 2 more or on Amazon used copies. You downloaded a PDF of this? The 9 Eyes of Light? I'm going to wait for your answer. Because if you did, we're going to wait for the link because I gave you a wrench. Put it in here. Is that what you were talking about? What? Put the link in here. We're going to wait. Put the link. You got it? Does it have a link? Okay, we're going to wait. And when you put it, I'm gonna open it up and I'm gonna verify to see if this is it. It should have. Oh, y'all, we might. That's all we need is somebody. I don't know if it's illegal, but while it's up there, let's swipe it and download it. But they come back and say swipe or no swiping. All right, hold up. All right, hold on. Download PDF. Pages 393. Yep, this has 379 plus some blank page. I'm sorry, 380 plus some blank page. Okay, yep, that's right. 393. Yep, they including the blank pages. Yep. Okay. Padma Anon. Yep, that's his name. But they don't have the third last name, but I'm sure this is it. That's the cover of it. Let me see. Let me try and download it myself. I'm gonna open it up. Open. Convert. Supports. Do I have to do this? Did you have to? On my Mac. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, so I gotta download this. All right, I'm just trying to walk through the steps so y'all can see. Because clearly it's not a virus. Email just downloaded it, but I want to actually open it up and just to make sure the pages, so I can verify for y'all real quick. Double click. Open. Think yes. Next.